Welcome to Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Today we're here with Jedrek Kostecki.
Close enough.
Close enough. Kostecki.
Oh, that was perfect.
That was perfect?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone heard it, all right? Excellent. You're here, and thank you for coming to my funny apartment.
It's lovely.
Oh, thanks.
The spacious ceilings.
It's very low ceiling.
I really like the staff.
Yeah, they're pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
I don't know if you needed to serve me caviar as soon as I walked in, but it was a nice touch.
Look, I live to serve. I do not. What kind of background should we give you? So we met, it would be like 2 and a bit years ago then? Yeah, you're giving me because I hooked up with one of your friends.
So actually, you don't remember, but we met in 2019. Because for a few years before we moved to Berlin, when me and my wife were still dating, we used to come to Berlin after Christmas. Mm-hmm. The first 2 times was until New Year's Day. Then we realized that we don't like Berlin on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we used to leave before New Year's Day. Before New Year's Eve. Anyway, we were here in 2019. This was a couple of months before the pandemic. And it was between Christmas and New Year's, and it was like a couple of weeks before we came, I realized that I could do some open mics here.
Yep.
Because I've been doing comedy for a couple of years out in Warsaw. Mm-hmm. And the only place that booked me was the Boat with Chris and Dragos. Mm-hmm. You were one of the performers.
Okay.
And you had a second mic that night.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, you guys can do more than one mic in a night. Oh, sweet. Yes, that was pretty cool.
I wonder which show that was. That wasn't the show that I met your friend at.
No.
That was in the summer.
Yeah, and that was, and I also met.
That was the night of Ukraine independence. That was the night that I met your friend. But yeah, so that went back when that was a holiday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because you guys probably went to Space Medusa.
We went to Medusa.
All right. Yeah.
I brought a bunch of people back from the.
You did.
From the Boat to Medusa. I just got shit-faced. Just got so fucking drunk. But okay, so yeah, and then I went off to another show. I think I may have remembered meeting you. Maybe.
I met you, Daniel
Olel.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And Dio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dio on the Boat.
Yeah, Dio was like, I remember Dio because I went back to Warsaw. A few days later. And like 2 months later, this documentary film about Berlin stand-up came out. Made by this, I think it was made by this Sri Lankan guy.
Oh yeah, made by Vidura.
Yeah, and
Raja Paksa.
Yeah, he left to London, from what I understand.
And he's huge now. He's huge, Vidura. Go Vidura. Ali Wong slipped into Vidura's DMs, and that's how I found out that she got a divorce.
Nice.
Like, how cool is that? Like, to find out that your favorite comedian is single based on her slipping into a friend's DMs. Like, I feel like I'm getting closer to like fame.
I think the only better thing would be if she slipped into your DMs.
Oh my god, that would be the best. But Ali Wong's dating Bill Hader now. Did you know that?
I did not.
I found that out last night or something.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but before I started talking about Ali Wong, okay, so his documentary.
Yeah,
about
I saw Dio in that. I was like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was like super impressive. That that you're like doing multiple mics and stuff. And I think you did a bit about your pubic hair.
Classic.
Yeah.
Really? Already? No, in 2019 I wouldn't have been talking about my pubes. Or even the start of 2020. It was later 2020 that I was talking about my pubes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would have been talking about the kindergarten, I'm sure. I don't think it would have been pubes.
I don't know, I was super stressed out because I I stopped doing comedy in Warsaw. I mean, stopped doing comedy in Warsaw meant I didn't go to one of the like 3 or 4 mics we had per month.
Yeah, okay.
For a month or two, so I was feeling sort of like a bit rusty. Yeah, but it was it was all right. I did some stuff that even back then always worked. So
there's still quite a small scene in Warsaw. Or
it's bigger. Now they have like.
This is obviously in English, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3 mics a week. Like if you want to do comedy in Polish, you can literally make a living out of it. It is not hard. The quality is not great.
I haven't heard spectacular things about the quality of Polish stand-up from the Polish-speaking, comedians that I know. But yeah, there's still like a cute little, a good little scene in English.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing, because my big money maker isn't happening at the moment, and so I'm planning to do some tours at the end of the year. And I do want to go to Scandinavia, but that's kind of an expensive one. It's like getting to Scandinavia, staying there, and like existing, feeding yourself. But so I'm thinking maybe some Eastern Europe little tours, like self-produced, taking my solo, and maybe doing some split bills with people. But I was thinking Poland, because it's right there, Yeah,
Prague probably.
Exactly. I've done, and Prague's always good too.
Budapest?
So I haven't done Budapest as well either. Yeah, Budapest, Prague.
I haven't done them either, but I've done Krakow, and I've done Łódź, which is like the city.
It's a great name.
Yeah,
Łódź sounds like such a mistake.
It's 4 letters, and there's 1 letter that's not a Polish letter. There's a D in there, and everything else is just people look at it and they go Lodz. I'm like, yeah, close enough.
Łódź.
It's Łódź, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's places. There's little scenes. In Wrocław has a pretty, small. There's scenes. There's people who organize mics. There's
venues that can be taken for solos.
There's a bunch of venues. That's like, I feel like in Berlin, venues are the
hard thing
problem.
to find.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Although I'm really lucky at the moment and loving my venues, but like to get a good foothold, with good venues, that's really tricky in Berlin. But there's so many spaces here. But it's because it's also a huge population. So.
Yeah, and it's spread out.
Yeah.
And like, I travel because I live on the border of Schöneberg and Wilmersdorf.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I travel, like every open mic, every comedy show I go to is it's not always like a trek, but it's a bit of a trek.
Yeah.
Like there's my closest venue is Caracas, and that's like just a bus ride, which is great, right?
Yeah.
But everything else is like, let's go to the U-Bahn stop and yesterday I did. God, Christ, I can never. I have the worst memory for names. Kolonek, Copenhagen.
Kollenkvelle. In Prenzlauer Berg.
Yeah. And that is literally on the other side of Berlin for me. Like you go to the S-Bahn stop, and it's like get in either one.
Yeah. Oh, really? Shit. You could go either direction of the Ringbahn. Yeah. Fuck. Look, like the venues are all pretty much in the east.
Yeah. I mean,
everything's in the east.
I mean, I've done venues that weren't in the east, and the crowds just weren't there. So I feel like it is.
Even Schöneberg can be a bit hard to get people to.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's kind of central.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there. But yeah, when I lived in the northwest in Wedding, I'm just saying that for people who don't live here. When I lived in Wedding, it just felt so dumb that I was like traversing so much of Berlin to go to everything,
right?
And it was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Now I live in the like deep. It's not that deep, but it's pretty much it's very east and it's south, and it's like quite east. And even being sort of this far east, it still only takes me like if I needed to catch a taxi to any show, it's not going to take me more than like 20 minutes. Yeah, so it's like, and riding my bike, it's like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to get to Friedrichshain and all the areas where the shows are. So I love it. But yeah.
I mean, one thing I really like about Berlin is that driving here sucks.
Mm-hmm.
and public transportation is usually just as fast.
Yeah.
And like I don't have to worry about. I once drove to Neukölln to do like a show, and any time saving on getting there was lost.
Parking.
Not even parking, but like once I parked, walking to the venue, it was so much further than walking from like the U-Bahn stop. Or
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
That's crazy.
I was like driving, and I ended up parking illegally, but like I'm Polish, so like basically I more or less know like what's okay to do illegally. Like that's the one big difference between like Germans and Poles, is that like we understand that laws and rules are recommendations more than anything. And like unless something directly bothers us, we won't get up in your shit.
Yeah.
But if it does, we will. Well, I feel like Germans are a lot more like, well, the rule is being broken.
The rule is the rule, and why would you, like, you're doing the wrong thing if you're breaking the rule, even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like,
although I do think that Berliners are a bit different to Germans.
Yeah. But I have some old school Germans in my building, and they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you're in the West, mate.
Fucking annoying.
Ugh, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love Germans, but I like Berliners more. Like, there's more of a.
I get it.
Like, you know, taking rules as a suggestion, and like, hey, like, it was fine. Give it. You know, we all are adults here.
Yeah.
That's not causing the problem. You know. Oh look, and now it's beautiful and sunny here.
It's raining.
It is raining.
It is also raining.
Is it also rain? Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I can't see that. Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck, it's sunny and it's raining. I'm hating Berlin just this week with the rain in summer, because I've got these 2 open air shows a week, and it's just creating stress and a lack of audience, because who wants to go to an open air show when it's raining and you're sitting under these like umbrellas, and it's kind of gross, but fuck it. So you have a daughter.
I do.
And how old is she?
She's 7 now. She's
Shit.
Yeah, she's gonna start 2nd grade next month.
Cool.
Which is, I mean, it's weird because.
Why is that?
It's weird because like, she's gonna stop. I mean, she's being much less a baby than she was. Like, she's getting out of that baby zone.
Yeah.
And she's getting more into like a kid who's, you know, I'm not saying she's always been, you know, a person and her person, but she's getting much more. It's like around babies, there's a lot of stuff you do that's pretty much automatic. Mm-hmm. And now she has an opinion on everything. And, you know, so basically our parenting philosophy is that she is a person.
Yep.
Above all.
Yeah.
So we treat her like a person.
Yeah. You
know, a person who doesn't know a lot of stuff, a person who needs a ton of support in a lot of different ways, but still a person.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's outspoken, she's opinionated. And as much as, you know, I think a lot of people don't want that from their kids. They just want compliance. They want a really smart dog.
Yes.
They want a dog they can chat with sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But our thinking was always, you know, in 15 years, which is a much shorter time than like it has any right to be. Yeah. In 15 years, she's going to be a full-grown adult, finishing up college, whatever university, call it what you may. And do I want her to be a smart dog then?
No.
No, because none of us likes those people.
No.
Like the words used to describe a good kid, which is like, you know, kind, quiet, you know, nice. They're words that we sort of use to low-key insult adults.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Like, if you tell somebody your friend's really nice, they're like, okay, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
There's something fucked up.
Yeah. You know? Like, there's a deficiency there. Yeah, totally. Although that said, like, I feel, the kids that I, working at the kindergarten and then being a nanny, the kids that I always gravitate to the problematic kids, or the kids that are not easy, I should just say. Like, I don't like easy kids. I like a kid that's, you know, like, there's different educations, though. Like, as in, you can get a kid who's got opinions and is rude about it, and then you've got kids who have got opinions and they can just have a good, robust discussion about things. And so it's there can be slight differences in that.
I think my daughter's all three. We haven't spent a lot of time teaching her how to be nice to people. I think that is some we're gonna have to put in some time and effort to make her realize that. Well, we do it all the time, and we tell her, like, when she says something that's hurtful, I say, hey, that was hurtful. Try to think about what I might feel when you say that. And she's like, okay. And then she doesn't. But, but it comes with time.
And the thing is, it's often, I reckon it's around this age, between sort of 6 and 10, that kids get their ego bruised in a way that they can then self-reflect and be like, totally. That's what it was like when I said that to someone. And like, they get hurt in ways, and they're like, how could someone be like that to me? And it's very dramatic. And it's like, hold on, are they a teenager already? And it's like, oh no, they're figuring out the ego bruising and the emotional consequences of actions.
Yeah. The thing that lots of people forget about little kids is that, when you're like the one emotion that develops when we're conscious of it is romantic love. When you're a teenager and the first time you fall in love, and it is so incredibly intense. Like, it is, even when you're going through it, you're like, this is, like, you're crying and you're heartbroken and you're destitute, and you get over it really quick because it is not a very deep emotion. You just feel it so intensely the first time.
Well, I think it's a deep emotion, but it doesn't have deep roots because there hasn't been any kind of like it goes deep, but it's like a very young plant that can just be ripped out, and it hasn't like taken to the soil deeply, like when you actually have a relationship,
and your lives aren't like intertwined and stuff and all that.
Exactly.
But and you think, okay, that's love. But when you're raising, a kid from basically, the vegetable stage, you go through all the emotions, and you're there when the kid discovers what anger is, and you're there when the kid discovers what sadness is, and you just see it, and you're like, this is gonna be a hard couple of weeks.
But it's also triggering for you, I think, like for parents. Because it brings back, I feel like the more time you spend with kids, the more you're brought back to your own childhood.
Oh, definitely.
And you're sort of learning of all those things.
Yeah, it is like, so I thought being a parent would be all right, but kind of like whatever, but I am very much into it. I am like very like, I wasn't planning on having kids. I met my wife when I was 34.
Okay.
She was 24.
Okay.
And something that came up when I was listening to one of your older podcasts, she said, I want to have a kid. And I was like, all right, let's try it. Let's give it a go.
So chill. Like, let's give it a go. Like, it's such a huge undertaking.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. But you know what? She said something to me that, like, she said, you're the first guy I've ever been with who I've thought I want to have a kid with him. I was like, that's nice.
that like what's the word, like that's not soothed, but like caressed my ego enough that yes, totally. I would love to be a parent.
I mean, and it's and like the empathy I felt that's grown within me since I've become a father is just wow. It's I don't there's a paradox, which is like older parents are better, I feel like, emotionally and mentally,
but and physically
and younger parents are better physically, but I think that having to choose between the two, I'd rather be like a better psychological and like emotional role model for my kid.
Oh, totally. Like I look at people that have kids in their 20s, and it's like, you don't know how to look after yourself. You haven't processed your childhood pain. You haven't processed your trauma with your own parents. So what are you doing with a kid right now? Like,
I mean, I went to therapy after our daughter was born. My wife and I both went to therapy apart, and we had a couple sessions of couples therapy.
I think that is so wise.
Just to like be better at it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so like, because I was talking to somebody about about people using the word fur babies, which just absolutely if you want something that triggers me, it is people calling their fucking pets their children.
Because it's a totally different thing. You're not raising something to be independent. You've acquired a dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically the plan is you get the animal, and then the animal dies.
Yeah, and you look after it the whole time, and you've got a bond, but it's got no other option.
Yeah, but like that, but that is the plan. Like if your child dies before you, that is a tragedy. Yeah. That is like, people are like, oh my God, you know, like the balance of the world has been turned upside down.
Absolutely, losing a baby, losing a kid is just, it's, you know, like I was watching the Louis C.K. special, Sincerely Louis, I think it was the third time I was watching it this week. I watched it when it first came out, but he had a joke about like why people think it's such a tragedy when a kid dies or when a baby dies. You didn't even know him, blah blah blah. And like since I watched the special the first time, and now I've had a friend whose baby died, and it's like, yeah, but there's a lot in the losing of a child, man. Like, it feels so unjust, and it is so like this poor little thing, and like it is just life, and it happens, and you know you do everything you can, but it's the pain of losing a child is like, it's just like, it's something very special.
There's so a bunch of my friends had kids around the same time I did, which was
that's interesting.
Which is very common.
It's not. I feel like all my friends who've had babies actually all my friends are all quite like me, and it's all been like a very weird staggered. Like most of them have not had children, and then like my brother had kids, started having kids 9 years ago, and then like maybe 2 other friends have had kids, and it's like, you know, like very.
Is your brother older or younger?
My brother's older.
Oh, okay.
And he's got 4 kids. The youngest is like, your brother too? No shit. My brother's 40 years old, and his eldest is 9, and his youngest is like 3 months.
Yeah, my brother is 47.
Uh-huh.
His eldest is 18.
Okay.
She was visiting us this... oh, you met her.
Again. I said very inappropriate things to your niece. I do this.
And their youngest is half a year younger than my daughter.
Just to clarify for any listeners, I said inappropriate things to your very young niece in a stage setting for crowd work. It wasn't
but she's an adult.
Yeah, it wasn't like I was like hitting on her off stage or anything.
And she wasn't offended.
Like yeah.
She thought it was very funny. She was very enamored with you.
No.
She's like, oh my God, she's so cool. I was like, damn straight she is.
Oh, thanks, Andrew.
I think I take you to Loser. And then my wife took her to Dima's show. I'm kidding. Dima's lovely.
Dima's lovely, but you know, it's not really a comparison. No, but yeah. So that's your brother's daughter, the eldest. The eldest. Okay,
yeah, she's got. Yeah, then there's like 2 other kids 2 years apart, and then there's Jamie, who was born half a year after my daughter was born.
Oh wow!
Which is. Like, when my niece first came, she started coming to Europe 2 years ago in the summer, right before we moved to Berlin. She came to visit us in Warsaw. Mm-hmm. And I told her, listen, like, when my brother told me that they were going to have another kid, Kasia and I, my wife, were like, why? Mm-hmm. And she turns to me and she goes, that's the same thing we said with my brothers. We're just like, what the hell?
But they want it.
Because you get... Yeah, it was planned. Yeah. But, like, you get out.
You get out. Why do you want to do it again? And that's what we love my new niece, and we're all very happy. But it was sort of like, you've got 3 kids.
Yeah.
The eldest is, the youngest is about to go to, going to kindergarten. Why would you do this all again? And then... But, they want it, and it was planned. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
4 kids is a lot.
I mean... Literally, like, as a parent, I sound like a complete asshole. No, but I mean, we look, I think we look at people who have multiple kids the same way people who don't have kids look at us, which is, why did you do this to yourselves? Because I don't know, I don't know what it's like, and every kid is different.
Yeah.
And it's weird, but parents spend so much time, like, being assholes to each other.
Parents spend time being to other parents, not to within the couple or something.
To other parents.
Yeah, but like that goes for everything, right? Like people are just assholes to people. People want to judge.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you must be doing it wrong." I'm like, "No, my child is just different than yours."
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right. And the problem, a bit of the issue with parenting, like in relation to this, is that you can't really exist away from other people that are dickheads. Like you're going to be in contact with dickheads because
totally.
That's how society and the education system needs to work, and it's actually good exposure and blah blah blah, but it doesn't, that knowing that doesn't reduce the pain and frustration of interacting with dickheads.
Yeah, I mean,
judgy and
this is so I have this like joke that I've sort of I'm trying to figure it out exactly, but it's basically about how the worse your country is, the less likely people are to ask you why you moved to Germany. Like if you move from like France, people are like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" Or Australia, "Oh, what are you doing
people
here?"
always ask me, and I'm like, "You don't understand."
and you move here from Russia, and people are like,
No one asks a fucking thing.
Yeah,
It's like the classic thing when people are like, if people are from Ukraine, you're just like, "It's so great that you're here," and like, let's move right on, you know? There's nothing to say.
Sometimes they'll go like, "Yeah, but I came here 5 years ago." Oh, for work?
Yeah, exactly. Or I think it also stands like, like Indian women. Like I will never ask, why did you move here?
Yeah.
Like, obviously you're here. Like India's still great, but let's be honest. Safety and freedom of women, and it's a totally different game.
And one of the reasons we moved here from Poland was because like Poland has its issues that are known in Germany about
the homophobia and the misogyny is pretty strong.
The abortion stuff, the extremely stiff gender roles, not caring about the environment, all that shit. Yeah. But I've been working I used to work in advertising. I worked in advertising for like 15, 20 years. And then I moved to tech. I was doing tech and advertising, but now I just do it for strictly tech companies. And my money created sort of the socioeconomic bubble that we got to live in. Okay. Like my daughter went to private preschool, and if we'd stayed there, she would have gone to a private school. And that's all affordable. And we lived on this, this housing development that had that was fenced in and stuff, and but I did not care for other people who shared the bubble with me. Because money makes a lot of people they don't know, like, I don't want to say they don't know how to act, but it just makes them massive assholes. Yep. Like the parents from the preschools, like the level of entitlement. And I want to go, listen, you don't make enough money to be this big a dick.
It's the entitlement and then the bad behavior around expressing that entitlement. Yeah. And it's just like, what? Like, where's your empathy for other people in service roles, or just like who are in the same position as you, but they're not you? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like the talking to people like they're not people. Just like you said, what are you doing? And I'm right now my daughter just goes to a normal school here in Berlin. Her best friend's parents. Her best friend's dad is a truck driver. Her best friend's mom has a cleaning company. Like she used to be a cleaner, now she has a cleaning company. And that is like I want her to just not have even. It's not even about the diversity, like the ethnic and racial diversity. Although those things are absolutely awesome. Yeah. But just the socioeconomic diversity. Yeah,
I think that's important. I don't know.
I mean, in Poland, I knew a bunch.
Well, it usually equates to a good mix of like attitudes and and sort of experiences. But I also think Berlin is a kind of place where, people have made a lot of changes in their life usually, like, and whether they actually be from within Germany or they've come from outside the country. To end up in Berlin, you've chosen this and you've made a lot of changes in your life to be here. And I think like that's why people are often like, oh, if you have kids, do you want to have them in Berlin? Because Berlin. And I'm like, absolutely, I want to have them in Berlin. Like, this is the level of socioeconomic diversity, cultural diversity, political freedom, or at least like engagement, and there's a bunch of other stuff. And then like in terms of like parental rights and like social, you know, support, exactly. Yeah. Huge.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we had, you know, we've used we've had our daughter diagnosed for autism. She's slightly autistic.
Slightly, okay, cool.
She's on the spectrum. I think.
Do you think is that a genetic thing? I'm not saying that I think you are, but
I think I am a little. Although I think more, I've just had a lot of.
You've just worked in IT too long.
Is it autism, or does he just work in IT?
I'm wondering.
That is such a. I mean, some stereotypes exist for a reason.
It's true, and like I like it. Like I really like. Specifically like people who are doing coding and spending a lot of the time doing that stuff, it's like there is a level of neurodivergence, I think, for you to do that and love doing it.
Yeah.
You know? And I like this year I've really gone, oh, I think I do actually, like, just because when I read the list of like symptoms or whatever for being those things, being like having ADHD and OCD, it's like I read them and I'm like, but isn't that everyone? And then me saying that, I'm like, oh, that means I probably...
Yeah, okay, that is Anna. Everybody. Everybody who's been diagnosed is like, but this is normal. You don't plan out what you're going to say before you start a conversation? What do you mean? Like, I'll literally be washing dishes or like loading the dishwasher and be like, okay, so when I see them, I'm going to say that. And I don't even think about it. That is completely not weird.
I didn't know that was weird.
It turns out it is. So like, yeah, and like, we actually went to a specialist in Warsaw, and this lady, it was €80 per visit.
Okay.
Versus nothing here.
Okay, yeah, that's good intel.
And
by the way, is it just a children's person that you saw, or do they do other people?
Yeah, it was like there's SPZ, which is like Sociale something whatever, but it's like social support for kids. So
okay.
My daughter had her diagnosis there.
I know that thing from working in the kindergarten. Yeah, there's like a social service for psychological assessments and support.
So, for psychological support for kids, which is like, of course there is, because they need it. And in Poland, it's like, Poland is basically like, oh, there's something wrong with our kids. They're like measuring poorly on this scale. Well, we need to get rid of the measurement. That is like the way things are done in Poland.
Wow.
Which is like. Like, oh, kids used to not be like there's this whole thing was like, oh, people are you know, they're going overboard now. Like, we didn't have mental illness when I was young, and I'm like, yeah, your dad just got drunk every night and killed himself by crashing a car when he was 40, but there was no mental illness. Oh,
totally. Yeah. Just because we can now diagnose it, and it's not always about medication, but it's just about knowing so that you can then develop some resource. It doesn't have to be medicated.
I mean, that is why we got our daughter diagnosed, because having a diagnosis means she is entitled to various support.
Yeah.
And we're like my entire philosophy for her childhood is we want her to have a great childhood. We want her to look back at her childhood and be like, that was an awesome time with friends, no responsibilities. I got to be, you know, like, that is what I want to give her. And if I manage to give her that, I'll be like, I am killing it at this parenting thing. I mean, I think I'm a pretty good parent. Just you know, in comparison. Although I can't do the shit that I used to do in Poland. In Poland, I would go out with my daughter, and I was a superstar.
How do you mean?
Like, women would be like, oh, you're taking care of what's her mom doing? I'm like, I don't know. This is my daughter. Like, mom's at home doing whatever mom does at home. It is us. And they were like, oh my God.
So that's how the sort of social, like the family structure in Poland is. It's like so not normal for a father to be spending time with his children.
During the week, no. Like, I used to, so I had to, we bought a flat in Warsaw, which was just massive bureaucratic undertaking because I had to sell a flat that I'd inherited, and my wife had to sell a flat that she'd inherited. Ton of paperwork. Like I found drawings and sketches of our flat from 1968 when it was built.
Yeah.
Just really cool stuff. And so I had to go to a lot of government offices, and I realized that the hack for dealing with that was just to take my daughter with me. She was like a year old. I would roll in there with little blonde curls, blue eyes, wearing like with that fat diaper butt.
Yeah.
And the ladies there were like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "Well, I have this form filled out. Is this going to be enough?" And they were like, "Oh, you need another form, and this one's out of date. But listen, I will take care of everything. You just see her with your daughter. Oh, she's so gorgeous." And I was like,
that's great.
"Yeah, you better."
Fuck, that's hilarious. All right, but you wanted to hang out with your daughter anyway.
I mean,
it wasn't just a tool.
Yeah, I mean, I love hanging out with my. So when she was born, I was working a day job and freelancing a bit for this American company. And after she was born, like literally, I took like 2 weeks off work. And in that time, the guy from the agency that I'd been freelancing for in the US was like, "Do you want to work for us full time, remote?" This was in 16. And I said, and he's like, I think he said, "I can offer you 30K. I'm like, "Can you do 40? Because this was like Polish money, I mean, this was US dollars, but it was in Poland. So and he was like, "Yeah, I can do that." So I was like, "Fuck, why didn't I say 50?" But anyway, so I came back to work and I was like, "Hey, I'm quitting. I'm going to be working at home." And I spent the next 5 years until 2021 working for this American company in the afternoons. So in the morning, I would be with my daughter.
You could be completely present, yeah.
I was there for her physically and mentally, and like I took her, like we did stuff. I took her on trips, or we'd go shopping together. I mean, she's like, it's cool. Like I like spending time with her. She's a fun person, and now she's got a sense of humor and stuff, and she doesn't like it when I joke about some stuff, like I mispronounce strawberries in German. I call them Erdbeerde.
She's like, do not do that.
Yeah, she gets so mad.
Really?
Dad, don't say Erdbeerde, it's Erdbeere.
That's so cute. So do you think she's quite German? Being her, like she's been here for how many years? She's been in Berlin? 2
years.
Okay, so only 2 years. Do you think the Germans rubbed off on her a lot?
I think because of her spectrum, her place on the spectrum, I think she likes the Ordnung. She really, like, we were able to choose which. There's only 2 classes. Like, she goes to the smallest school in Berlin, supposedly one of the smallest elementary schools, and there's only 2 teachers in her year. And we like found out which guy was like had the bigger stick up his butt.
Okay.
And that's where we sent her. Because she likes rules. She likes justice, which is also very spectrum, supposedly. Like this sense of justice, that you need things to be just. Yeah. That is very much her. She's
my mom, myself, and I think also on the like low key, like I think the guy that I'm seeing, I've seen a few guys that are definitely on the spectrum, but I like not on like and there's no judgment of it, but like yep the sense of justice and the
I mean, I had that too. I was like, this is like, just you see something unjust happen, you're like, this is wrong, and you're like, wait, why do I care?
Why do I fucking care? Absolutely. I've eased up a lot, but
yeah, but I mean, you have to teach yours. It's I mean, I am a shy person by nature, and I taught myself to not be shy.
Yeah. I've taught myself to shut the fuck up a bit.
There are so many things. Yeah. Same. Same.
Like, I went to this birthday party this week, so like, but yeah, and it was with the guy that I'm seeing, his friends. And
you need to give him a pseudonym.
I do. I need to give him a little nickname.
Is he German?
No, he's from Argentina. But
Juan.
No. What can I call him? I don't know. Something dumb. My first thought was pizza. But
So me and pizza.
pizza.
We got some pizza.
But there's a party. And and it was all his friends. And like I realized, because he's like 11 years younger than me. He's 26, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, your wife
My
is
wife's 10 years younger
10
than
years,
me. But
yeah.
also, unfortunately, it's different for like the social.
It is different.
But also, like, who the fuck cares? Like,
but also, yeah.
is somebody gonna check? Like, are you gonna stop by the cops and be like, "Excuse me, how young is he?"
Exactly.
Do you know what this looks like?
But also, I was talking to Sophia recently, and she was like, "Oh no, I had a boss who only dated younger men because she was like, dude, men die earlier." Men die younger, so
Yeah.
I want my partner to be with me when I'm like, I don't want him to die first. Like I want us to die around the same time. And I was like, that's interesting. That's quite smart. Yeah, I'm just working smarter, guys. It's all a plan. But yeah, so I sort of was psychologically preparing because it was the first time I was going to meet like quite a few of his close friends, and or at least two of them, and I was like, oh, they're all going to be so much younger than me. And then I thought about it. I was like, in the comedy scene, everyone is fucking younger than me. Like pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Like I'm older than. Hold on, no, we're the same. What year are you born?
Oh, I'm older than you.
You're older
definitely.
than me. Yeah. Hold on, you met your wife at 34. Yeah.
I'm 46 years old.
You're 46. Okay, you're 10 years older than me. Okay. So yeah, but I kind of like.
You'd never tell.
I can never tell. You look great for 46.
Thank you. It's because I'm lazy.
But I was thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, no. Like, I hang out with 21-year-olds and 23-year-olds and 25-year-olds, 27 all the time. But when I was at the party, I was also, like, consciously being, like hearing these conversations and just trying not to engage too much. Because it's, like, this one woman at the party was like, so, guys, I'm just wondering... This is not how she speaks, but...
But it is how you remember her speaking.
Yeah, she's like, so I'm wondering, like, I've been thinking about open relationships. Like, what do you guys think about them? Have you got experiences? And then the whole room's just like, ugh. And it turned out that, like, almost nobody knew anybody else in the room. It was, like, just little couplets of, like, people who knew each other. And so it got super awkward, and they're all sort of talking these things, and it's like, and I'm like just holding it all back because I'm like, I've got so much I could say, but I'm not going to. And so eventually, towards the end, I was just like, oh, there's a book you could check out.
Is it The Ethical Slut?
Yeah, it's like if you're interested, well, because you listened to Shannon's episode.
I did.
Yeah. Did you know about The Ethical Slut already?
I know about it. I haven't read it.
Okay, yeah. Have you ever tried non-monogamy?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never like I was listening to older episodes of your podcast, and like people talking about their promiscuous era and stuff like that. And I never had that. I was, I dated, I was in a long-term relationship for like 4 years out the gate. It was super toxic.
Classic.
Yeah.
So your very first long-term relationship was toxic.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, super toxic. And then then like
I think your 20s are for toxic relationships though.
Yeah.
That's when you learn some shit.
And then I went to work, and I like worked a ton because I like poles work a lot. And then I started like being more active and taking care of myself. I lost a bunch of weight. I dated around a bit, and then I met my wife, and I was like, yeah, this is good. You know.
Yeah, nice.
I dated a girl who was like 20 when I was like 32.
Interesting. Dated too, not just fucked.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we hung out a bit, I guess. I mean, we mostly
banged.
We mostly banged, but and hearing her talk was like, I mean, I don't want to criticize it because it is 100% about where you are in your life at that time. But you know, she would like complain about her college professors, and there is, after you finish university, there's nobody in your life that has that kind of role in your life as your teachers do, because like my boss pisses me off, then fuck you, boss. I'm off to the next job.
Totally.
You can't do that at school or university.
No, you're stuck. You can change university though.
Yeah, I know.
You can do that,
but changing job is like, yeah. I mean, especially depending on the job you have. Like if you're working in like gastronomy or hospitality here in Berlin, and you don't like your job, then your next job is down the street.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. Like I don't know. I've got bits about it, and I've talked about it probably ad nauseum. But like, it just spending more and more time with younger people. Like there was a real flip when I moved to Berlin. I'd always been the youngest in my social groups in Australia, and then when
Everybody
I moved to
here's
Berlin,
so young.
And then I moved to Berlin, and it's flipped, and so I've been like the eldest, and not always. Like there are people older than me, but like I'm in the older bracket, and but I can still like I hang out with younger. Like I can relate to people that are 10 years younger than me if they've got if they've got the maturity about them, if they understand what it is to be 10 years like apart, and then also if they've got a good sense of things, just
I think
perspective.
I think I think like the biggest, because there's this fixation around turning 18 and becoming like legally an adult.
Yeah.
But I feel like finishing university, or at least at that age, that is like hitting the real world, supporting yourself. I mean, I know these are so tired tropes. Like here's the biggest issue with all of this. You can't tell them any of this because you sound like an old piece of shit. Like my niece, when she was right before, so she came to Europe for like a month and a half. Like have a Euro trip. She came with her one of her best friends from high school, who is Greek, and they traveled. She was also at the show, and they went to Greece, they went to Rome, they went to Warsaw, they went to Berlin, Frankfurt, back to Greece, whatever. And right before my niece flew here to Europe, her boyfriend broke up with her, and we were like. And we were like, what was the plan for university? Because she lives in Colorado, but she's going to university in New York. And she was like, well, we were going to try long distance. I was like, long distance is for old people. Which I believe to be true. Like my mother-in-law had a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
With, like, she is 70 something now. Her boyfriend is now 80 something. And there was
when you say the word boyfriend and they're 80, it's like, oh, that's so cute.
And there was a lot of talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And I feel that is like, it would have been talking on the phone were they in the same city, or were they 1,000 kilometers apart. But after they broke up, she was kind of sad in Europe. I was like, you got to hoe it up.
You gotta what?
Hoe it up.
You gotta hoe it up. Absolutely.
Like that is.
Well, it's like it's a gift to be broken up with. Like it's funny that he broke up with her, and it wasn't like a mutual thing of going, "Hey, I'm gonna be studying in New York, and I'm just gonna be in Europe for the next month." Like, why the fuck stay together?
Yeah, I don't. And then,
as an adult, like she's traveling as an adult.
Yeah, and then when they were in Berlin,
yeah.
He posted a picture of himself with his ex-girlfriend on Instagram.
Like ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
not her,
but previous ex. And she was like or like maybe there was this chick that was like trying to get in there right before my niece got in there.
Yeah.
And she was like so broken up about it.
And, oh, baby!
And you have to be supportive, but at the same time, you know what it means, and it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
But you can't tell her that
because the amount, like, it feels horrible.
It feels horrible.
Oh.
It feels horrible. It feels, and you're like, trying to take it seriously, but it's hard.
But it is hard. It's just like the age thing of like, but even like the level of resilience I have for breakups, like it, you know, when things don't work out, it's just like I've had so many relationships not work out, you know, like I've had so many. And so it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt as much, but it's like the recuperation, like the repair time is a lot faster, and the perspective as well. And it's like I walk into everything with this is probably not going to last forever. And of course, you know, put all the energy and everything I can into it, but it's like, you know, it's it's not so much about cynicism, but it's just the kind of a realistic perspective on things and going, you can feel hurt, but you're going to actually, like, that pain is going to change and transform soon enough, you know?
Yeah, I mean, how many, you know, so one thing that I always think about is like how many people have dated people they don't remember anymore. But when they were breaking up, it was like
the worst thing ever.
And that's, I mean, it's something I joke about, which is like, there's no way my wife and I are splitting up without a judge being involved.
Yeah.
Because he's either declaring me dead or we're getting divorced.
Yeah.
Like there's no
like, all right, chill, bye-bye.
Yeah. There's because I was literally talking to her just right before I left here, which was about this thing, which is like, to me, marriage does make sense because it is sort of a barrier to
giving up.
And it's like, put in the, like, a little bit of extra time. Like, you know, obviously I'm not saying for all marriages, and there are some marriages that need, and like never stay together for the kids.
Yeah.
Because
that's a mistake.
Every adult child of divorce that I know was like, I was so happy when my parents got divorced.
A lot of them, absolutely. And just also like looking at the parent, if it was one parent that wanted to leave, it's like, you got to live your life, man. Like never wanting to look at your parents and be like, I wish my mom had just sucked it up and stayed with my dad, because that would have meant my teenage years would have been more stable. It's like, no, thank God that she left, and like she had the balls to do what she needed to do for her. Yeah,
and they always end up like happier in new relationships and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not my mom though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my mom did. When my parents got divorced, I don't know if my mom ever like really got over my dad.
Oh, that does happen, but that can happen with or without marriage, I guess.
But the thing is, the one thing I don't understand at all is people who have kids and don't get married because they're like opposed to the institution or whatever. I'm like, it is not a big deal. Like, it is a great institution if you want to like have this formalized structure of your relationship, because the kids will keep you together until the end of your fucking life. Like, my parents have not spoken for 20 years to each other, and then they had to sit together at a table together at my wedding. They had to sit together at one table. They did not speak to each other, which honestly I was mad, but I'm kind of like impressed. Like,
I could not speak to each other.
Yeah, I couldn't like not speak to somebody who I was sitting at the same table with. Just.
But the amount of energy that must have taken.
Yeah.
But hold on, you're saying, I don't quite understand. You're saying that kids will keep you together anyway, but like, why is marriage then important?
I don't think it's important, but I don't think it's something to rebel against.
Well, it's just a choice. It doesn't make it a rebellion if you choose not to.
I mean, the tax advantages, especially in Germany, are amazing.
Now, that is truly an argument I could get behind, just being like, tax benefits, really. Like, how good are the tax benefits? Like,
they are amazing. I mean, basically, you take your salary and you split it. Like, if there's a single earner, like in our situation, it's as if though both of us were earning half of what I make. So with progressive taxes, it's like an extra couple €100 a month.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, so that's a pretty good... Okay, so that's a good argument for marriage for me.
And I like... You know what? My wife did not like her last name because... So, my mother-in-law is such a piece of... Like, one day I am gonna do a 15-minute bit on my mother-in-law because she is... Like she is like my mother-in-law's greatest wish in this world is that I would leave my wife.
Wow, that's
that I would be a deadbeat dad. I would leave her and my daughter, so my mother-in-law could swoop in and save the day, and it'd be just the three of them, and they would be awesome. It'd be like a cartoon family, like so perfect, and they would be witty. Because she literally said, ever since you started dating Jedrek, you've become so opinionated.
Okay, so her daughter is not being the nice little child that she liked, and okay,
yeah, and
so she's actually hating on her daughter. Then it's got nothing to do with you.
Like because I don't care for my mother-in-law, like obviously, but my wife really hates her.
Oh, okay. So actually, so if your wife hates her mom, then
it's but also she's her mom, so she worries about her mom, and
of course
all that stuff. I don't worry about my mom anymore, but that's just because she died. But yeah, otherwise, But so my wife never met her dad, because my mother-in-law was the other woman. And the baby my wife was born out of wedlock.
Interesting.
And once my
never met her dad.
So like maybe when she was like 1.
Okay, but that's not meeting your dad.
Yeah. So
is he dead or is he just never?
Yeah. So when she was like ready to, because he was a little older, and my wife's mom is older. Mm-hmm. She had her when she was like 36.
My age.
So. Yeah, well, but this was like in the 80s, so this was and in Poland, so that was a totally different time.
Totally.
And so my wife had when she was ready to meet her dad, she found out that he died of pneumonia, like a couple months earlier.
Shit.
So, yeah, but at least he hooked her up with. She got money from his. He used to get a pension, and she got like a fraction of the pension until she turned 26.
Fuck yeah, that's great.
So, yeah, it's pretty nice.
That's an interesting origin story.
That is, I've realized, like, especially after my daughter was born, I realized like how much families rely on origin stories and like founding myths and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, and then when you start examining them, it's like this wasn't like what happened, and this...
Yeah, I'm still interested with the marriage thing. Like, okay, tax benefits, yes, that's all. I do like the term "my wife," and I do understand, or my husband, but I also like having been married and realizing like really you get married to be like Amy Schumer's new special. She talks about how marriage is cool and that like you have a fight and you're like, he's gonna come home. Like it's not easy to just leave a marriage.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a big part of my argument against marriage. It's like, okay, it's very easy to do it, but they make it triply hard to get out of it.
Yeah.
And like hard as well as like cost, and also just like the social thing of like, oh, getting divorced again, like, oh. And so it's like, it's kind of like, shackle me up, you know what I mean? Like you're putting, and I'm not saying that marriage is a prison, but in some way, and it doesn't have to be, I don't think marriage means that it has to be like this strict monogamy. You can have your own rules for your relationship. You can do things however you want. But it is hey, let's actually just like tie our wrists together and put a little lock on that costs like a good $2,000 to take off.
But the thing is that, it is still not the most expensive or most binding thing you can do with another person, which is like, for me, our timeline was like, we had our daughter. Well, my wife had her daughter. So I was just there for the beginning, and then we bought a flat together, and then we got married.
Okay, interesting. I think that having the kid thing is binding you more.
Yeah, I mean having a kid. Yeah, that's
eternal binding.
That is for life.
Until the kid dies, that's it.
Yeah, and then but also buying a flat together. Like if we split up and was like the other person was like, hey, I want you to buy me out. That's a lot more expensive than divorce.
Hopefully if the divorce goes all right, and like the thing is custody as well as like breaking down of assets and like who's got more money and how the court rules. Like for me as a woman, honestly, getting married, like the family court's usually biased towards the woman, so the woman gets out better. But
one of the few areas of life where that happens.
Yeah, one of the few.
And men get so mad about it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't like when guys complain to me about it. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's fight for equality everywhere.
Yeah, let's fight for equality.
And until we're like a third of the way there, women get a better treatment in family courts. And you know why women get better treatment in family courts? Because they show the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Because a quarter of men go no contact with their kid after their kid is born. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, shit. I can't.
That's crazy shit.
I can't imagine not living with my daughter.
Yeah, I can't imagine having a kid and not. Like, I don't think there's. I think if you do end up having like a divorce, I think still having your kid every second week is good. Yeah. And having them for the full week, and I think like having that sort of half parenting is not a bad thing for a child, or for a parent. But yeah, of course, like being able to live with your kid and being there every day, like that's of course that's what you want.
I know. I mean, there's spending a lot of time talking about kids. Tough shit.
Yeah, no, this is what this episode is. That's totally fine.
This is the kid episode. But basically, before I had a kid, I thought my kid would be cool when she turned 6. Like she turned 6, she can talk, she has her opinions,
Yeah.
And it's been a treat from like day one. It is just,
They're hilarious. And kids are so much fun, man.
Yeah. I mean,
they work as well.
My daughter's first joke was she put her sock on her head and looked at me. So I would laugh. And she was like 9 months, like maybe 11 months old. Yeah, but they're about like 9 or 11 months old. And I was just like, oh, I can't like. Because when the kid is born, they can't do anything. No, they can crawl to a tit.
Yeah,
and that's like for a couple hours because they lose that ability. Like there's like the whole, like I didn't understand what having a kid was until like it all happened to me. But
it's totally helpless. Totally helpless.
And you do everything, and then like a couple months later, the kid's like, hey, check this out, and it's her first bit, and you're like. Nice.
They learn fast, man. They really. It's very impressive just how the human species continues to be so numerous in members, given how helpless the human baby is. Like that always fascinates me, and also how it's not like it's easy. It can be easy to have kids, but like the more industrialized and like educated and the more equality we have in societies, like the older we get, it actually gets a lot harder to have kids. Apparently fertility is going to be dropping massively in the next 10 years.
Yeah, I've heard it's already been falling.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm getting my fertility checked in 2 weeks.
So we actually spent 1.5 years trying to have our daughter.
Really? Yeah, and your wife is like fucking...
But she had some issues.
Because she was like 20. How old was she?
She was 26, 25, 24 when we started. 20.
So she was young.
I don't know, 25. Yeah, and and I got tested, and she had issues. So they tried one medicine, and that was a year. Then we were like half a year into another treatment, and we were like about to take a break because it is emotionally hard to try to have a kid and not be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then she got pregnant, and we were like, "Fuck yeah, high five!" Nice. And I'm kind of mad because like one thing that like I wish we could have planned my daughter's month of birth better so she could like have better birthdays.
When she birthed?
In February. I wish. I mean, it's not
in the
as,
southern hemisphere. It's good.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, it's not as bad as my wife, whose birthday is like the 29th of December.
Yeah, that's shit.
Yeah, which is shit just for tons of reasons.
Yeah.
But it's. I mean, it would have been nice for like May.
Yeah, May's nice.
Yeah,
May's
September.
Although in the southern hemisphere, May's not great, and
Yeah,
September,
But like I know about you. I know about you, Australians. You're all like, oh my god, it's winter in Australia.
It is.
It's only 5 degrees.
Yes, it gets, but the infrastructure is
I know,
cold, man.
I know.
And it still gets fucking dreary and gross. And my birthday being in November was never that great. It was like spring, but like always rainy and a bit cold. And here it's like November. A lot of people cite November as one of their least favorite months because it's like, oh, this like winter is really coming.
But the thing is, like, one of the things I love about Berlin is that everybody complains about everything.
Yes.
And like, I come from Warsaw, and everything is just a little bit worse. Like people, it gets dark early in Berlin, and Warsaw gets dark 40 minutes earlier just because of the Earth's rotation.
Jeez, because it's like my parents were in London for 8 years, and they've just moved back to Australia. But just a comparison of London to Berlin, it's like Berlin is so much darker and so much earlier, and then Warsaw's even earlier than that. Yeah. Fuck, man. It's like people don't realize it, the sun thing. Like people when they like from warmer climates, it's like no. Winter's hard because it's dark most of the day. Like,
it is.
You gotta hustle to see sun.
That is the number one reason So when we were talking about moving somewhere outside of Poland for our daughter's school, one of the reasons we chose Germany and not, for example, Stockholm or Oslo or Copenhagen is like, it's even worse there.
Yeah, no. Berlin summers are usually great.
Oh yeah.
I'm really trying to decide if I cancel my show tonight. I don't know. It just looks gross.
Yeah. Although I do get annoyed by how it's sometimes still light out at 10 o'clock.
I fucking love that, man.
And I'm just like,
if you've got a kid, that would be annoying. But
no, but she's good. Like she's I mean,
but it does fuck with sleep patterns and definitely. Eating patterns, because if it's still light at 10, like I often my lifestyle with being in comedy is very different. But like in summer, I can't get to bed before 3 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, when I didn't have a job, really didn't have a job, and not like I've been off work for 3 months now because I got laid off by accident, by mistake.
That's great.
Did I tell you the story?
How was it a mistake?
So basically, my previous employer is pretty much going under. Like, I don't know if they're actually going under, if they're like gonna pivot and pull some shit out their ass last minute, but I got all the money they're supposed to pay me, so I'm happy. But it was basically the end of the month, end of April, and on Thursday we had this all hands meeting, and I was like, oh, am I gonna get laid off? I don't know, maybe. I hope I get laid off. And I didn't get laid off. And I was hoping for at least because it was the end of the month, right? And I have that 3-month notice period, which is for full calendar months.
Yes.
So if somebody lays me off on the first of the month, it's 4 months.
Yeah.
And they didn't lay me off, and I was like, fuck, because I was hoping to get laid off, and I was hoping to get a job offer at the same time. I ended up getting my job. So I ended up on Friday, the last work day of April, I got a letter from my office and a message from my manager, and the message from my manager was, I'm so sorry, somebody messed up. You got a letter saying you've been let go, but you're going to get another letter in a few days that says that letter is null and void. And, and I was like,
huh?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
confused. What? So like they said you're getting let go, but it's actually wrong.
Yeah. Huh? They said because on Thursday I checked in with my manager. I'm like, listen, so no cuts in our software division. He's like, no cuts. I was like, fuck. Because we were all like,
ready to go, huh?
It's time to go. It's time.
Then how did you get laid off if they then said it was nullified?
I am 100% sure that one of the plans for cuts that day, because some other people got cut, was to lay off me and this other developer. And yeah, it happened. I got the letter like maybe it wasn't supposed to be sent out and it got sent out, or they changed their mind after it'd been sent out. Whatever. I got the letter. It's a binding legal document. And on Monday, which was May 1st, I got a message from the other company. They're like, hey, we're going to send you an offer tomorrow. And I'd signed the offer by Thursday. And I reached out to my manager. I'm like, hey, I still haven't got the letter,
to nullify.
Nullifying, which is actually, I would have to like agree to that letter.
Yeah.
Because you can break a contract from one side, but to re-enter a contract, you need both sides. I'm like, they don't have to send the letter. I'm going to take the severance and the 3 months of garden leave, which is, if somebody doesn't know, it's when you can't work.
Yeah.
So you have to sit in the garden.
Yeah.
But you get paid your full salary.
It's the dream, no?
It is truly the dream, and it ends on Tuesday. On Tuesday, I go back to my new job. Well, I go to a new job.
That's great. I'm looking forward to maybe one day getting something like that. I haven't had leave like that ever. It's been a long time since I've had actually it hasn't been that long. I've had full proper work contracts, like full-time contracts. Twice in Germany, 3 times.
I used to have a business. Like I was a contractor in Poland, and the taxes are just a joke.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll pay my taxes. I'll pay my taxes, and I will, sign the work contract, and I am fine with it. Like send kids to school for free.
Yeah.
Our kita here costs 23 euros a month because that is what they cost in Berlin.
Yeah, that's it. That's why you have kids in Berlin, guys. Have kids in Berlin.
If we lived in Berlin, we probably would have had another kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, you were talking to Shannon about this in the last episode. I don't know if this is going to be in order, but having a kid in the city for exactly the reasons you stated, which is. You don't have to be a kid's chauffeur.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be anybody's chauffeur anymore.
I want my kid to be as independent as possible, and I wish I'd had that as a kid. There's no resentment for how I grew up, but if I'd been able to walk to all my friends' houses, if I'd been able to walk from school, which I did for a bit, but that was it was more public transport, and it was but to be able to just get around, maintain my own social life, that's the fucking dream. That would be fucking cool. We're gonna need to wrap up, but do you have any topics you wanted to bring up, or anything that you had in mind that hasn't happened?
Well, no. No, you know what? This has been an amazing conversation. I had a lot of fun.
Yay!
But no, I mean...
It's making me clucky, man. It's like me checking my fertility in 2 weeks. I'm like, there's a big part of me that's like, please just have such low fertility that I can't do anything about it. But if they're like, hey, you've got heaps of eggs, I'll be like, fuck, I should freeze them.
But you know what? I will say one thing, and that is I think women need to stop having kids with dumb shits.
Yes.
Because one thing that really opened my eyes, I've been a feminist for a long time. My mom raised me as a feminist. But the number of women who try to build their lives with men who don't think they're people is just too fucking high.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Put that vagina on strike, ladies. That is...
Yeah.
If your man... This is going to be 30 Rock. If your man won't get his semen tested when you're not able to have a kid, that is a fucking deal breaker.
Oh, yeah. Why the fuck would people not do that?
I don't know, but when my wife, when we were doing our fertility shit.
That's crazy shit.
And my wife was like, you should go get tested. I was like, when and where?
Yeah.
Are you going to make the appointment? Do I need to make it? She's make the appointment. I'm like, I found a clinic. I made an appointment. I went there. I jacked off into a cup. Yeah. It was the room itself was super gross. For me, because I am from my porn is, in my devices era.
Yeah.
Or at least on my computer, but it's definitely not fucking magazines and a leather couch.
Oh, I can only imagine how
DVDs,
scummy this shit is.
And I was just like, okay. And I went into the bathroom and I rubbed one out watching a video on my phone.
Yeah.
And the ladies there were like surprised by how not nervous I was. Because I was just like, this is the least gross thing that I will do as a father, right? I'm going to be handling poop. I'm going to be handling pee.
Yeah.
I can this is...
Jacking off into a cup's nothing. No?
Yeah, I mean, like, because, you tell people you're trying to have a kid and you're basically telling them, listen, I like ejaculating raw straight into my partner's vagina.
Yes, that's exactly what you're saying.
That is exactly what you're saying. And people are like, oh, that's
so sweet.
If you ever came up to somebody like, you know what my wife really likes? Cream pies. They'd be like, wow, you are completely inappropriate and I'm calling the police. Right. And they would be right to.
That would be right. Yeah. But we call it trying for a baby, and everyone's...
And my wife was like reading all these Facebook forums, and she was like, why are all these women discussing how to steal away their husband's sperm to get it tested so he doesn't know, because that, like, if the problem's hit, like... The problem can't be him because he's a man.
Seriously?
Yeah. And
that's out there?
And I'm...
Oh, my God.
And she's telling me this. I'm like, why are these women having kids with these men? These guys should not be fathers. Fatherhood
or they're just so insecure, man. They're just so insecure.
You can't be insecure as a father.
I don't think that
need
works.
to be there. Yeah. And women step up all the time. Yeah. And men get a pass, and we don't deserve a pass.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. That's horrifying that men wouldn't get their semen tested. It's like, dude, it takes two to tango, right?
I mean, you literally you go in there, like, I feel like if you're the guy who doesn't want to, who's like scared of getting his semen tested, you are going to enjoy like the vibe of that room. There's like naked women in posters. There's like magazines. There's DVDs. I don't know. Maybe you can invite a friend and jack off together. I don't know.
Probably that he is that kind of guy. Oh, I'm a real man. I'll do it with my best mate. All right. So shout out to men. Get your semen tested.
Yeah.
Women, get your fertility tested. I don't know. I'm gonna be doing some research.
Women demand more of men.
Yeah.
We can do better. Just don't give us passes. This is fucking embarrassing to all of us.
Yeah, we do need to tighten up a little bit, don't we?
I like it how I made it women's problems.
Yeah, I know, right? We need to make men better. All right, where can people find you, Jedrek?
I don't know, man.
You've got an Instagram, don't you?
I got an Instagram. Don't follow it. Fuck off.
All right,
listen. If you see me at a show, laugh at my jokes, then don't talk to me.
That's beautiful. I love it. I have nothing to plug. See me in Edinburgh. I'll be also doing podcasts in Edinburgh as well. All right, that's been Adults Only Comedy. Berlin, thanks so much and goodbye.
Bye.